Google's second definition of an apocalypse is an event involving destruction or damage on an awesome or catastrophic scale. What do you think when you hear the word apocalypse? Nuclear war? Catastrophic natural events? How about worldwide technology failure? An apocalyptic event wasn't on the minds of many people in the year 1999. But as time ticked away to the dawn of the new millennium, apocalypse became a grim reality. What is the apocalypse in mind? It wasn't a nuclear threat, environmental disasters, but rather a computer bug that could topple every computer running at the time. This was known as the Y2K scare. You may ask, what exactly was Y2K? Y2K wasn't a virus, it wasn't a computer worm either, but rather a bug in the date system for computers. You heard me right, dates. Dates are essential parts of our society as to regulate the chronological order of events. Imagine if one day, the dates of all of our computers reset to some arbitrary number. You may not think that this would be too bad, but think again. December 31st, 1999. An unassuming date for many, but a date for which the Y2K bug would hit. Why the year 1999? And why specifically December 31st, 1999? The day after December 31st, 1999 will be January 1st, 2000. And if you were to write January 1st, 2000 using the month, day, year shortened format, this is the problem. The main fear of people was that 00 could be interpreted as any year with 00 at the end. Many computers store date as 2-digit rather than 4-digit numbers, taking the last 2 digits for the year. The fear was that computers wouldn't treat 00 not as the year 2000, but as the year 1900. This was understandable, as computers were becoming more and more mainstream in the 80s and 90s, and in order to save more space, programmers would take the last 2 digits of the year and slap a 19 in front of it, and bam, you had the year 1987. Programmers simply put the idea of slapping a 20 in front of the date for another day. If this bug was true, if the year 2000 was interpreted as the year 1900, January 1st, 2000 would turn into January 1st, 1900. But why would a date confusion cause a global catastrophe? Sure, you may have to reschedule a doctor's appointment, but there's much more to this than just a minor inconvenience. Banks could fail, nuclear power plants could close, hospitals could get confused, anything with a huge reliance on the date system could fail. This could obviously result in a minor inconvenience for many or a global disaster. So, people did what people always do best: cause mass hysteria. Some people treated this as a potential for disaster, and they'd rather be safe than sorry model took into full effect. This guide describes basic survival techniques regarding water, almost implying that the whole world will descend into total chaos. You could repurpose this into a nuclear war survival video, and the techniques shown would still be valid.
Having adequate quantities of drinking water during an emergency is essential. An average adult needs a minimum of 1 gallon of water per day, 2 quarts for drinking and food preparation, and 2 quarts for sanitation. Active people can require twice that amount.
To feed into the hysteria, people started writing survival guides for the Y2K crisis. One of these was the Y2K Personal Survival Guide by Michael S. Yacht. The book description states that it could speculate on the kinds of problems that could be caused by the year 2000 computer problem, and provides checklists and contingency plans for weathering the crisis. Even the reviews are mostly positive, stating that this book was very informative and easy to read, and that it was practical information for any crisis. Take a look at this Best Buy sticker, which was planted on computers, which told customers to remember to turn their computers off before midnight, almost implying that something bad was going to happen if the customers didn't. The response wasn't limited to only the civilians. According to a Washington Post article from the year 1999, the United States spent about $100 billion to combat this issue, which would be about $157 billion in 2021's currency. This hysteria wasn't limited to the people we see on TV. These people were at home too. My mother was a big part of this hysteria. Let's see what she had to say. What did you think would happen during Y2K?
I prepared for the Y2K by gathering basic emergency supplies that would last for a few weeks, like food, water, and necessary daily supplies. I also bought freeze-dried food and boxed water that can be stored for a long time. It is similar to preparing for a few weeks of camping trip or any disaster like major earthquake. I also made sure that I had some cash on hand if the bank computer malfunctioned and could not access my accounts.
What preparations, if any, did you take?
I thought there was a possibility that there would be some problem. The bank and stores used computer and there might be an issue with withdrawing money or buying food when the computer system is down. I do not know how serious the situation would get, but I wanted to be prepared for the worst. I made sure that I was prepared and be able to live comfortably for a few weeks until things got back to normal. I did not fly on a plane because I was afraid that any malfunction could bring down the plane.
And after everything, as the time ticked away slowly on New Year's Eve, and the night came to an end, many people wondered if the world truly would end.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Nothing really happened as the year 2000 rolled around. Some attributed this to the extreme government response, while others saw it more as an overreaction. This news story says it all.
Portable cooking stoves and
The potential that people will overreact to Y2K is beginning to concern emergency officials.
There's more of a concern that people will react inappropriately.
There were some minor problems, however. Reports of satellites not functioning came about, ATM cards suddenly expiring, and teenagers suddenly turning to senior citizens and police records are just a few examples. There was nothing too serious, life-threatening, or catastrophic that came out of this bug. So many people casually forgot about it. But this wasn't the end, surprisingly. This time in 2021, according to New Scientist, parking meters, cash registers, and professional wrestling video game have fallen victim to the Y2K related bug. A sort of band-aid solution was put in place, delaying Y2K by about 20 years in some systems, assuming that computer programmers would fix the problem within a period. This was a temporary approach that seemingly never got fixed, and caused Y2K to happen again 20 years later. Look at this Tumblr post of a user's computer falling victim to Y2K, except just 20 years later. This photo really says it all. In conclusion, Y2K was an issue after all. We don't really know for sure what could have happened without the effort of many countries, but better safe than sorry. Y2K really exposed the problems of inefficient programming and how such a reliance on a singular, flawed system could cause a global outage. This little diagram says it all. Let's look back on Y2K and use this as a lesson that technology, although secure, cannot be relied on forever.